In the early 1990s, residents of a small town in New Mexico began reporting something strange. It was not a loud sound. It was not music. It was not an explosion. It was a low, distant hum. But the strangest part was this. Not everyone could hear it. In the town of Taos, New Mexico, a small number of residents claimed they were being disturbed by a mysterious low-frequency noise. It became known as the Taos Hum. For some people, it was only mildly annoying. For others, it affected their sleep, concentration, and daily life. They said the sound was worse at night, especially indoors, when everything else was quiet. The sound could not be traced to one clear location. Taos is a town surrounded by mountains, desert, and open sky. It is not a giant industrial city. There are no massive factories in the middle of town that would obviously explain a constant mechanical noise. At first, people thought it might be coming from power lines, underground equipment, military activity, or distant machinery. But none of those explanations clearly solve the problem. Researchers and scientists eventually became interested in the reports. In the 1990s, investigations were carried out to understand what residents were hearing. The goal was simple: measure the sound, locate the source, and explain it. But that was not easy. Only a small percentage of people could hear the hum. Some reports suggested that around 2% of people in the area experienced it. That meant most people heard nothing at all. Imagine trying to prove a sound exists when most people standing next to you cannot hear it. For those who heard it, the sound was real. For those who did not, it was almost impossible to understand. Scientists brought measuring equipment into homes and quiet areas. They looked for low-frequency vibrations, electromagnetic sources, and environmental noise. But they struggled to find one consistent sound that matched every report. Some researchers suggested that the hum might not be one single thing. It could be a combination of different sources: distant traffic, industrial equipment, electrical systems, natural vibrations, or even sounds traveling through the ground. Low-frequency sound can behave in unusual ways. It can travel long distances. It can pass through walls. It can be difficult to locate because human ears are not very good at identifying where low-frequency sounds come from. This could explain why some residents heard the hum more strongly inside their homes than outside. A building can sometimes amplify certain frequencies, turning a weak vibration into something more noticeable. But that still did not explain why only some people could hear it. Another theory focused on the human body itself. Some scientists believe that in certain cases, people may hear internal sounds produced by their own auditory system. The ear is not just a passive receiver. It can produce tiny sounds of its own, called otoacoustic emissions. Usually, people do not notice them. But under certain conditions, some individuals may become aware of low internal tones or vibration. Other researchers suggested that tinnitus could explain some cases. Tinnitus is the perception of sound when no external sound is present. It can appear as ringing, buzzing, humming, or pulsing. For some people, it becomes more noticeable in quiet environments, especially at night. But many residents who heard the Taos Hum rejected that explanation. They argued that the sound felt external. It seemed to come from outside them, not from inside their ears. Some said it changed depending on where they were. Others said multiple people in the same household could hear it. So the debate continued. And Taos was not the only place where this happened. Similar hums have been reported in other parts of the world. In England, people reported the Bristol hum. In Canada, residents complained about the Windsor hum. In the United States, another well-known case occurred in Kokomo, Indiana. In some of these cases, investigators eventually found possible industrial sources. In others, the source remained uncertain. That is what makes the Taos Hum so interesting. It is not necessarily supernatural. It is not proof of anything impossible. But it shows how difficult sound can be to understand. A sound can be real to one person and completely absent to another. It can travel through air, ground, walls, and pipes. It can come from a machine miles away or from something much closer. It can be physical, psychological, environmental, or a combination of all three. The Taos Hum sits in the space between science and uncertainty. For the people who heard it, the experience was not a theory. It was something they lived with. a low sound in the background, a vibration that would not stop, a question with no simple answer. Today, the Taos Hum remains one of the most famous examples of an unexplained low-frequency sound. Many scientists believe natural or human-made sources are the most likely explanation, but no single source has ever fully explained every report. And maybe that is why the story continues to fascinate people. Because the scariest mysteries are not always loud. Sometimes they are quiet, constant, almost invisible, a sound in the distance, a vibration in the walls, something only a few people can hear, and no one can fully agree where it is coming from. If you want more real mysteries told with facts and curiosity, subscribe to Shadow Files. Because some mysteries are not seen, some are heard.